So the next question that we've seen in the chat here is, are you looking to get set up as a union? Why guild? I'm going to throw that back over to Chiara.
We talk about being a union because that's really the role we're trying to fill for sellers, right? We're viewing this as, okay, we're all technically small businesses, but most Etsy sellers are like a single business from their home, much more like a gig worker or an employee for a platform that has massive control over what they can do. And we're saying this really isn't like a business interacting with another business. This is much more like an employee dictating terms, an employer dictating terms to an employee. So we're seeing the need for an organization to work for the rights of those workers. But the reason we're not a union in the name is because in the US, you cannot file to be a union unless you are employees, which is really a problem beyond just us, right? There's so many people working in non-traditional workplaces now, so many people that work not as employees, and they can't get any of the protections of, there are laws, as poorly enforced as they may be in some cases, but there are laws on the books in the US to protect employees and they have protected speech about their employer and about their workplace at their workplace. The National Labor Relations Board is there to protect in part to protect employee rights, but none of that applies if you're not a traditional employee. And so we can't file as a union. We are not a certified union with the National Labor Relations Board in the US. That is how we want to act, but we legally can't file that paperwork. We are a registered nonprofit in the state of Rhode Island. The next step is filing for IRS tax exemption, and that's where we will have to determine what kind of nonprofit we file as. There's several different ones, and we want to consult with the lawyer to find out exactly which one and the best way to file that paperwork, because there's kind of different, slightly different rules depending on the different categories that you pick there. So we picked the name Guild just because, again, we're not legally a union. We didn't want to be fully confusing there, although this led to its own kind of confusion. Guild is more often used for kind of groups of, for non-union groups of people coming together. It also, historically is what, craftsmen used in the Middle Ages when they came together and set regulations and advocated for themselves. So it's got that connection. So that's where that distinction comes in. So that's why we say we are building an organization to act like a union, but not saying we are one, because we have not filed that. We cannot file that paperwork to do that. That would require changing US labor law, which, while I'd love to, is beyond our scope right now. We just talked about not biting off more than we can chew. I'm not going to commit to that one just yet.